Hi guys, my name is Lindsay and I have an Instagram channel that is called Pacific Northwest underscore heirloom underscore seed. And it is kind of a compilation of the things that I'm growing season after season and even in the off season. And I also dabble a little bit in selling some of my seeds, sharing some of my seeds, and kind of sharing some tips and tricks that either work or don't work for me. Now, today we're going to be talking about saving seeds, and in particular, tomato seeds. I've got a few varieties here today. I've got these lovely little Mexico midget tomatoes. You can see that they are in various stages of ripening now. I also have these gorgeous blue goldberry, which are, I think there's one that's not quite ripe, but most of them are quite ripe. And I'm going to be saving seed from these today. Now, aside from the tomato seed, I have just a few little things. I have these little, I think they're 2-ounce plastic containers. They are commonly used for dressing or condiments. They also come with these little lids. You can use anything though. I find these perfect for what I need them for, but you can use, recycled glasses. I've used mason jars and different things of that nature before. Now, first and foremost, I'm going to label my cups. I want to know what the varieties of seed that are in each cup are, as well as today's date. So I'm going to write blue goldberry, and today's date. Now I do this because as much as I think I'm going to remember, I probably won't. And I don't want these to start sprouting in their little respective containers. I want to save the seed for next season, so I want to make sure that I don't leave these in here too long. There we go. Mexico midget. There we go. And today's date. Now I've got my 2 little containers. This is a really, really easy way to save seeds. It's one of my preferred methods. We're gonna start with the Mexico midget over here because I've got a lot of them. And I'm gonna grab just the ripe ones. So there's some, again, at varying levels of ripeness. You can see, oops, throwing them everywhere. You can see some of these that are a little bit more kind of gold orange in color, where these ones are a darker kind of orangey red. And I wanna save seeds from these ones. These ones are not ready to save seed from yet, okay? I like to make sure that my fruit is a little extra ripe or overripe before saving the seeds, just to make sure that the seeds have matured fully enough inside. So I'm even gonna remove some of the more firm, lighter ones, and we will stick with these for now. So these are my Mexico midget. They are an indeterminate plant. Even though the name says midget, this plant gets very large and in charge. It is full of these little tiny cherry tomatoes. They are a nice size, they are tiny. Maybe even grape tomatoes, right? They're small. Very flavorful, really, really awesome. Now, I'm gonna put them in a little bowl of water just to clean them off. I want to first and foremost make sure that I don't have any guck on the skin that I'm going to be putting into my little container. I prefer working with dry fruit, so I'm just using my little cloth to take off some of that water, and we'll lay those out here. I've got my little container that has Mexico midget written on it, so I know that the seeds that I'm saving for this variety are in here. Now this is super simple, you guys. Part of the reason that I like this method is I get really good germination rates. I also get really healthy seed. So I've cut my little tomato open. You can see the little seeds in there. All I'm gonna be doing is squeezing until the gel and the seeds start squirting out, and I basically just wipe it off there. If I need to, I can go in with my knife to scoop out any seeds that I may not have been able to snag. There we go. But I'm just kind of squirting all of those tomato seeds inside. Again, sometimes I go in with my knife And I use, let me see if I can get this a little zoomed up here. This way. There we go. Sometimes I can go in if I need to, let's see here, with my knife and like scoop those out. But squeezing it is pretty much a little bit easier for me. So it's what I stick with. Let's zoom out a little bit. There we go. Okay. So again, we're just squeezing those seeds out. Doesn't matter if I get the goop in there or not. I prefer to get it in there. There we go. I'm pulling off the little sepals on the top there. Scooping everything in here. Now, as we're doing this, I'm just going to talk about a few little things. Now, these are an heirloom tomato, which is perfect for seed saving. And to ensure that I get the same type of fruit, the same, you know, great flavor, all this kind of stuff. I want all these characteristics year after year. So when I am planning on saving fruit for a certain variety of tomato, one of my first things that I do is I isolate the fruit initially so that I know that no pollinators have gotten to the fruit and possibly crossed it on me. Now, heirloom varieties are great for saving seed. They will usually grow true, but the one caveat to that is if I let my plants go crazy, I've got a lot of different varieties, I've got lots of pollinators in my garden, it's possible that one of those pollinators can go from one of my plants to another and cross-pollinate my seeds. So in order to maintain purity of my varieties, I use little mesh baggies. Like you see here, they're little organza baggies, commonly used for wedding favors and different things of that nature. And when I notice that my plant is starting to flower, when I see the little buds, the little flower buds appear, I take one of these bags, I stick it over the branch, and I tighten it, and it just kind of hangs on there. Now, I keep the bag on the flowers until fruit has formed. Once the fruit has formed, I take the little baggie off, and I put a little string or a little marker on it showing that those fruit on the end of that, you know, whatever, have been isolated and that they are okay for seed saving. What this does is it makes sure that no pollinators get into my flowers, possibly crossing them. This way I know that the variety of seed that I'm saving is going to be exactly what I saved the year before. Now, sometimes people don't want to do that. They don't mind having crosses. They don't mind, you know, things being a little bit different, and to each their own. Because I do share my seed and because I do sell a little bit of my seed here and there, I want to make sure that the people who are purchasing and taking the time to seek out these varieties and grow these varieties, I want them to make sure that, like, it's such a bummer to be excited about a variety, grow it, spend so much time germinating seeds, transplanting seeds, watering, taking care of, fertilizing, all this stuff, to not have it be what you expected. So I like to try and keep the seed purity, not only for that reason, but because of some of these heirlooms are really old, and I want to kind of keep, you know, the qualities and the values that are true to them. So again, we're cutting these open. I'm squirting the seeds out. You can see my little container is progressively getting more full. Here we go. Oops, get my hand in front of everything. Put that up there. Okay. Squeezing those out. Got a lot of tomatoes. These little tomatoes have a lot of seeds in them for such a small little tomato too, which is really nice. These are also a really nice flavorful tomato. They are definitely sweet over acid. They are a great snacking variety. Very, very flavorful. probably one of my more favorite ones. I've grown them for the last 3 years. 3 years ago was the first year I grew them, and I've grown them every year since. My son absolutely loses his mind over these guys and absolutely adores them. Great tomato flavor. Definitely more sweet. They've got a lot of gel and a lot of seeds inside. There we go. That one's not cut open yet. There we go. It's kind of a fun feeling too, squeezing them out. It's kind of a relaxing little thing. This guy was really tiny. Such a good tomato. I highly, highly, highly recommend it. I'm not a big tomato eater either, surprisingly, but I really love this tomato. Okay, so now I've got my seeds in my little container, right? I'm going to take some water. I'm going to add some water to my mixture. I don't want it quite up to the top, but I want it to cover my seed. I can use my knife to kind of, any of the ones that are sitting at the top, kind of scoop them in there and get them in the water. Now I'm going to pop a little lid on top. I'm going to shake it up to agitate everything and get everything mixed up really nicely. And we're going to let that sit. Now I'm going to let this sit for about 4 days. Once or twice a day for those 4 days, I'm going to shake up my mixture to agitate everything inside. And I'm going to open the lid slightly to burp my mixture. Now what happens in here is everything starts to ferment. That fermentation process is going to start to eat away at the gel sac that are the little seeds are encased in. You can kind of see, right? We all know tomatoes here. When I pull my seeds out, here we go. Let's see if I can get a close enough look on this. When I pull my seeds out here, there's a little gel sac that encases the seeds. This is so that they don't, partially so that they don't germinate inside the tomato. Now, the fermentation process will help to take that away and prep my seeds for next year when I'm going to start to sow seeds again. Another thing that this does is it kind of mimics like the natural decaying process of everything, right? So it gets my seeds prepped. It helps get rid of any like bad stuff that may be on my seeds to help give really good quality seeds. And it also will help me decipher which seeds are ready for planting and which should be discarded. So again, every day for 4 days, I'm going to shake this up to agitate everything inside. And then I'm going to burp it so that whatever gases are kind of brewing inside there, it doesn't make the pop blow off or anything like that. Now on day 4, I'm going to take this, I'm going to agitate it one last time. I'm going to let everything settle. I'm going to take my lid off. And I'm going to, any of the seeds that are then floating on the top, I'm going to siphon off and not use those. If there's any seeds that are floating on the top on day 4 after shaking up and agitating them, those are probably not going to be viable seeds, so it's better just to discard them and not use them. Now, whatever seeds have kind of floated to the bottom and are remaining, you're going to pour into a mesh strainer. I have a little like half circle one, and it is like a wire mesh. I pour my seeds into there under running water, and I massage my seeds into that very fine metal mesh. And what that does is it helps take away any remaining gel coating that are on the seeds, any little bits of mold that may have formed in the 4 days on the surface, and helps get everything really nice and clean. Once I've rinsed the seeds, I scoop them from that strainer onto a piece of wax paper and I let them dry. It's pretty simple. Oops, I missed one of my little tomatoes. This one rolled away from me and I didn't see it. Let me add this guy to the mix. There we go. Now, this is not everybody's favorite method. It's something that works really great for me. I get really great germination rates from my seeds when I save them in this manner. And it's just always really worked for me. So it's kind of my go-to method. But there's lots of different ways that you can save seeds. Obviously not just this one. We've got Mexico midget right there. Now I'm going to do a fun one. This is my blue goldberry tomato. It is a very unique tomato in the sense that it has these dark shoulders to it. Isn't that beautiful? It is a tomato that was bred by Brad Gates of Wild Boar Farms. It is a beautiful little cherry tomato that has anthocyanin in it, which is this dark coloring. It is common, something common found in blueberries. It gives it that dark coloring. And I'm going to cut these open. We'll taste one and we'll save the seeds. Take those sepals off. Aren't they beautiful though? Now, they will progressively get darker. You can see this one is a great example. Now this one, this side here was in the sunshine. This side got really dark. It was exposed to direct light and it ultimately darkened a lot. Now you can see this side, as it gets lighter there, is not as deep and dark as that other side. This one was shaded. You can see where it was hit by direct sun, where it's darker, and where it was not hit by direct sun, where it's lighter. So these types of varieties that have these antho colorings in them can be brought to be darker in color by being exposed to more direct, bright light. Oops, let's rinse these off real fast. Dunk them in my water. Dry them off. Got my little container. Now these are stunning. These are also very tasty, and they do especially well in my Pacific Northwest climate. So you can see it cut open there, nice and seedy. It's got those dark antho shoulders, and I'm going to do the same thing. We're squeezing those seeds into the container. These are a great tomato too. Ah, squirted all over me. Of course. Very sweet tomato, not overly sweet though. It's a good balanced tomato, but it's definitely more sweet. Sorry as I scoop seeds off of me that are all dripping down, dripping down now. I'm like, that just exploded all over me. And I'm not big on editing. I like to kind of show you what I'm dealing with as I'm dealing with it. So this will most likely not be edited out and you get to see all my bloopers firsthand. Again, we're just opening these up. We're squeezing the seeds into there. I can use a spoon, I can use a knife, I can use whatever I want to scoop them out. I find it super easy to just squeeze and wipe. I get most of all the seeds this way anyways. There we go. One that doesn't want in there. There we go. Two more. Now I always wait for my tomatoes to be usually overripe and on the softer side before they start kind of rotting and getting gross. I want to make sure that my seeds are mature and ready for seed saving, so I like to make sure that they've kind of sat around for a little while, getting really nice, healthy looking seeds. Again, we're putting those in there. There we go. There we go. Some of these are going to need a little help to get out, a little stuck. Okay. I think that's good. There we go. Okay. So I've got my little seeds in my little container. That out of the way. I've got some water. I'm just going to be pouring a little bit in there. My cup is about halfway full at this point. We're going to pop on my little lid, shake it up to agitate everything. And again, I'm going to let these sit. I'm going to be letting them sit in a cool area that is not too sunny or bright or anything like that. I don't want direct light on them. I don't want them to encourage any mold growth. I'm going to let them sit for 4 days. Every day for 4 days, I'm going to shake this up to agitate it and kind of really mix everything up. I'm going to also open up the lid a little bit to burp it because it's going to start fermenting in there and there's going to be gases that are created and I don't want those gases to make my lid pop off or whatever. Luckily, I've never had it happen, so I don't have to deal with that. You can also use reusable containers. I've used yogurt containers, mason jars, different things depending on the quantity of seed that I'm saving. And if you don't have a lid for those jars, I recommend you can use, anything, tin foil, cheesecloth, just something to help with fruit flies and things of that nature. Because otherwise there's a little bit of a stench that comes around with the fermentation process. Not everybody loves that. And fruit flies are, you know, usually kind of happen. So I like to keep them closed and tight up. So this is my seed saving, 4 days in these containers, shaking them every day, agitating those seeds. They will start to ferment. They will start to eat away at the outer casing on the seeds. It'll also help me show which ones are viable and which ones are not. Great way to save seeds. Super, super easy. Once they've dried out on a wax paper towel after my whole process is done, then all I have to do is put them in a little baggie to save them for the following year. Super easy, super fun way to save seeds, and I have a great success from this. I hope you enjoyed my quick little video today. You can always check me out on social media at Pacific_Northwest_heirloom seed. And as always, I appreciate any follows that you may jump on and give me here. It's always super fun. Thank you guys so much. I'll see you guys later. Bye.